Good afternoon. I'm Christina Feltzlin, Director of Consulting Services with Ledgeview Partners, and I'd like to welcome you to today's Dynamics 365 User Group webinar. For our agenda today, we're going to try something a little bit different. It's a little bit of a different format. Our topic for today is more of an Ask the Expert, and today we're going to Ask Mike. How this works is we want the user group to be interactive. So throughout the session, Michael is going to answer the questions that you submitted at registration or have asked during the session. So if you have a burning question, please enter it now in the question pane of the GoToWebinar control panel. At the end of the session, we'll close with resources and upcoming topics for next month's user group webinar. For the housekeeping, to ensure the best audio quality for all attendees, we do have everyone in listen-only mode. Since this is an Ask the Expert session, we encourage you to ask questions. So please submit them in the question pane of the GoToWebinar control panel. If we don't get to your question, we will follow up offline or include it in an upcoming webinar. Just a reminder that today's webinar is being recorded and will be available on demand at the end of the week. All registered attendees will receive an email with an access link to the recording as well as the presentation slides. Now, to get to today's featured topic, I will turn it over to our Dynamics 365 CRM expert, Michael Dodds, Support Consultant with Ledgeview Partners.
Thank you, Christina, for that wonderful introduction. I'm really excited for today's topic. I encourage the questions, so if you have any questions, definitely submit them in the questions pane, and I will definitely get to those. I'm going to start off with a couple of pre-submitted questions, and then we'll jump in. Our first question is, we are a software developer using Dynamics for customer support and have found it difficult to choose a way to categorize the subjects of our support request. Is using the subject field the best way to do this? That's a fantastic question. The subject line is it's really a great way to use the built-in functionality for categorization. The subject field was added to the service module basically as a way to categorize cases, knowledge base articles, and other items within service. What's really nice about it is it allows parent-child subjects. So you could have an overarching subject for your service, and then you can break it down further underneath that. What I'll do is I'll jump into CRM and I'll kind of show you how you can set this up. So within Dynamics 365, we're going to go from our main drop-down menu, and we're going to go to Settings, Service Management. And then Subjects is right here. So once we click on Subjects, it'll just take a quick second to load here. We can see our subjects here. If we break them out, we can see, okay, broken gasket has one underneath it. Warranty fix does not. And we break down these other ones as well. So let's say I want to add one under warranty fix. I do add subject. I can click on warranty fix and do add subject. Automatically, my parent subject is warranty fix. And we can just do part fix underneath the warranty fix. We can add a description if we'd like to, and then we just click add. Once we click add, it'll basically break out the publish for you. Warranty fix, there's part fix right underneath it. So that way, that'll be your breakdown when you go within this case and do the subject breakout. So it's a really, really great built-in tool to do categorization. It's not, you don't have to use subject. If you want to use something a little bit more simplistic that doesn't have as many pieces to break out, you can do something as simple as an option set. It's just a way to group your cases. That's another option. Our next pre-submitted question was, how do you customize a global search? This is really done through the system settings under administration. I'll show you how to do this. And then I'm also going to show you within the quick find view how to determine what's shown in the search results, what can be searched, and also the filtering for the view. So let's jump in. I'll show you that. I love global search, and if you've ever attended one of my trainings, I actually have two favorite navigation buttons. I know it's a little weird, but I do. And one of them is global search. So I'm just going to show you global search quickly, just so you get an idea of what it looks like. So you have all these different entities that you can search through, and they're all listed right here. But let's say what you want to be able to search for is not in here. How do you add it? Or how do you change the order in here? It's as simple as going to settings and then going into administration. So under administration, you just go to system settings. Want to make sure you're under this general tab. We scroll down, select entities for categorized search. Click select. And now you can see those are all the entities we have selected for categorized or global search. If we want to add a custom entity to this, we can simply go down here. And I have one, actually I already added, excuse me, I have testing right here. But let's say I wanted to add SLA, I can just highlight SLA and click add. And if I want to move this up the list, I can just move this up. Or if I decide, you know, I really don't use leads very much, I'm going to move this down the list. I can move it down. If I want to remove, you know, I really don't need to search my users, just click on it and click remove. Click OK. This will put it into the system. Click OK. And then if we go back to our search, you can see that leads has been moved down the list. Now, let's say we're looking at this and we go, okay, I really want to be able to change the fields that are shown here. And then also the filtering based on what I'm searching. I want to change that up. I want to be more exclusive of what I'm able to search. To do that, that's actually right and customize the system. So you go to settings, customizations, customize the system. So if I want to be able to search for accounts, I want to be able to search only for accounts that are within a specific state. Probably not what you're going to do for global search, but you get the idea of, you know, advanced fine filtering that you've used in the past for setting up specific views. You can set your search to be based on those parameters. Out of the box, when I click on the quick find view to open it, out of the box, what it's going to do is it's going to set it to active. The system is assuming out of the box that you only want to look at active accounts. But if you want to change that in any way, you just click edit filter criteria right here, and you can change this. Let's say you want to be able to search active and inactive accounts. Just remove. Just delete this out. Now you have no filtering, and click OK. Now you've changed your filtering. So basically the parameters around what your search results bring back. Then you can pick and choose those three. So there's 3 lines, 3 fields that show up on global search. You're able to see 3 fields. Those 3 fields are the first 3 columns within your quick find active accounts column section. Let's say I want to see their email address, the company email address versus the city. Well, I can just simply move this over. And now I'm going to show account name, account number, and email address. Now, the other thing that you can change in here is specifically what you're going to search. Like, what can you search that's going to bring back results? You can search any field within accounts. And to add one, you just simply go add find columns right here. So it's not going to let you go into any other associated records, only accounts. Now, let's say I want to be able to search for street. So if you have many accounts that have very similar names, but they have distinct addresses, and you go to these locations very often, so they're top of mind. And we've had a couple of customers that have done this, and it's worked out really well for them. You just simply click address 1, street 1. You are now able to search by a street anytime in global search. So it makes it really easy to pull that information up. And then you just simply do save and close. And as we all know, the cardinal rule of doing customizations within the system, always publish it before you move on. So I'm just going to save and close, and then do publish, and then we'll jump back into our PowerPoint.
Michael, there is a question. It's related to what the topic you're on. So how do you do a search for leads from form fills that answered yes to a form field, and can you export to a spreadsheet?
Now, I apologize. If you could clarify on what you mean by form fills, are you doing this in terms of a click dimension? They're filling out a form online, and then you're filling out that form on the lead. Regardless of if it's filling in a field on the lead, you can add that as a searchable entity, as a searchable field, excuse me. So you can add that through add find. So as long as the field is on the form, is on lead, which it is, you just add it as an add find field. And then you add it to there and you're able to search for it. Now with a yes one, if you're simply typing in yes as your answer, that might return a lot of results. In that scenario, I might actually do something more along the lines of just setting up a view instead of a search, just because that's more of a static response, a yes or no. So maybe take the field and say, create a view that says whatever field it is, they answered yes, and then you can just constantly come back to it because it's always dynamically updated every time somebody answers yes. And then to export it, let me jump back into CRM, from any view that you've set up. So let's go to accounts. If you want to export any view, you just simply go to export to Excel. And there's a couple different options. Static worksheet. I only have a select number of records, so static worksheet would be one that you would probably do more. It would be static worksheet everything or static worksheet page only. So those are different ways that you can export it right out of the system. And then I do see that we have another question. Is it possible to have a subject tree value show up in a system view? Thank you for the question, Russ. I'm assuming that you mean the piece that we were talking about under cases and that subject line, and you want to be able to pull that out into a system view. Definitely. So if I even just went to cases and I did an advanced find. So are you looking for the tree itself? You want to pull the tree out, or do you want to be able to pull the results out? And I'll let you respond to the results. So, okay. So you can simply go to cases, and all we have to do is add the subject as a field on our view. So if we go down here to subject, get to S's, add subject, and then we'll have subject within our results. So right here. So then you're able to pull the results. It's only going to show the item that you selected, not its parents as well. It's only going to show the item that was selected. And then Russ, I do see that you had another question. What is the best way to sync custom activities with Outlook? Now, my assumption here is that you've set up different custom activities within the system that you use on a regular basis, and you want to be able to pull those down from CRM into Outlook. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that sounds like what you're trying to do. Is that correct? Okay, so you want to pull it down as a task or appointment, and you are 100% correct here, Russ, in terms of how it only really pulls down as a task or appointment. That is an excellent question. That is one that I am going to have to actually take offline and probably find you the best way to do that. That's not something commonly that's done. So let me take that one offline and I will follow up with you on that one, Russ, on kind of the best way to approach that one. But great question. All right, I'm just doing last check. All right, looks like we've covered those questions. So I'm going to jump into another pre-submitted question. And our question is, how do you customize the plus sign to open a new form versus opening the search box? excellent question. And if any of you have ever done a subgrid where you click the plus sign, it just opens up a search box instead of opening up a brand new creation record, this will help resolve that issue. So for our purposes, we're going to actually go to contacts, and we're going to look at the subgrid of cases. So if I go down to my subgrid for cases right here, so if I click the plus sign, you see how it just comes up with the search box here? And that's exactly what people are running into. What I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into the cases entity to show you why this is happening. So if I then go to sales and go to service and go to cases, I'm just going to jump into any one of my cases. This all has to do with the fact that contact is not a required field. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into the form editor, and I'm just going to quickly make contact a required field. Once I make contact a required field and refresh the system, then I will get a creation box. So what I'll do is I'm going to jump to contact, open contact, go to details, edit, and then just change this from optional to business required. And then save and close. And I know I'm going to sound like a broken record, but every time you make any change, whether it's in the back of the system or in a form here, save, publish, save, and close. So once I publish this, I will then refresh. I'll go back to the contact form, I'll refresh the system, and then go back to the contact form and show you the difference. So if I refresh first the case form, you'll see that the red asterisk is now next to the form, on the form here, next to contact. We'll just wait for this to reload. And great question, John. So similar to this, I've never understood case regarding account or contact. This is just simply saying that if you have an account that you basically want to say, okay, here's a case. So for example, what we do in our support area with Ledgeview is we have customers come in with either items that need to be adjusted, enhancements. We open a case, but the case is associated directly to an account, and it's also associated to a contact, just so we know what account is associated to, and then the contact that called us or sent us an email. That way it helps us with reporting. We know, different things about, how many cases are being opened by certain accounts or contacts. Unless you're possibly referring to customer field being able to choose account or contact. And if that's the case, that's just simply the type of lookup field it is. There's a bunch of different options for data types that you can look at. And customer is one of the bottom ones, and it automatically looks up to account or contact. It allows you to choose either one. And that's just an out-of-the-box data type that lets you do that. So as you can see here, contact is now a required field. So let me jump back, and my love of CRM is coming back here because I get to use my second favorite navigation button, and that's the recently viewed items. So if I want to jump back to Nancy Anderson, who I was looking at recently, I can just simply jump back instead of going back to contacts, going through a longer process to get there. And then I can just go back down to cases, click the plus sign, and now my quick create comes up. So that's how simple that is. All right. I'm going to jump over to another question that we were able to get in. How do you export ribbon workbench edits from a solution? This is actually a really great question, and we know since 2015, it could go back a little bit farther, but I know since CRM 2015, if you add an entity to a solution, even if you don't check anything, don't bring anything in, as long as the entity is listed in the solution, the ribbon will come with that as well. So in other words, that's how you can do it in 2015. I mean, otherwise the current ribbon and its edits is included for each entity. So any entity that you bring in, it's going to be in there. Then you simply export the solution. That's how you can export ribbon workbench edits. Now, one thing to note is you can also build apps in Dynamics 365, and then you can set how the ribbon is configured through a wizard. It doesn't have the same abilities as the ribbon workbench. That's a much more robust tool, but this is an item that you can do through a wizard, which is a little bit more user friendly. And remember, if you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the question pane. We'll just keep answering the questions that we have. We have another pre-submitted question that I'm going to jump to. And this one is, can we customize the activity wall or social pane to display only certain activities? So you really can't customize the social pane. So this is your social pane right here. You are very, very limited, and this is one of the few items within CRM that's actually very limited on what you can change. The only two things that you can change, and I'll show you right here by clicking on Form, and I click in my social pane here, I can choose which tab is defaulted, and basically that's that section where it's Posts, Notes, the Assistant, or Activities. I can choose which one it defaults to when I come in. And then specifically to the activity wall, I can choose how the data is sorted and then the order in which it's sorted. So I can do it by any one of these, the actual end, the date it was sent, any of these, and I can do it in ascending or descending order. So that's an excellent question. And another one that I'm going to jump to, we got just about 5 minutes here, so I'm actually going to jump to one last question here. And this one is, for those on Dynamics 365, how are they approaching the development environment, and what are the pros and cons that they've discovered? Really, really good question. If a customer subscribes to any of the Dynamics 365 application licenses, so sales, customer service, basically any of those, or the full customer engagement license, the plan 1, you get one non-production instance for the whole company. Okay. Now the pros of a development org, if you've ever worked with us in support, we say 100% get a dev org. It's really, really important to have. It gives you the ability to create and configure changes to CRM without affecting your production org. You can test various changes or fixes to an issue you're having in production without, again, causing more issues within production. You can easily move changes from dev. So all those enhancements that you put in dev, you can quickly move those to production. You can also test managed solutions. If you attend our upcoming admin top tips for admins, that's going to be our next user group. We're going to touch on this in more detail, but managed solutions, you always want to test third-party managed solutions before you put them into your system. Highly recommend doing that in your dev org. And then you can also take a copy of your production at any time, and you can pull over the data and the attributes, or just the attributes. And there's so many more. And I just saw a couple of questions come in. Have you ever seen the activity wall duplicated on a form? John, I'm going to assume what you mean is that you're having two different social panes, or are you seeing the activity tab twice? So notes at top, activities lower on the form. Gotcha. So that's actually, and without seeing your environment, I'm guessing that it's more of a subgrid versus the activity wall. So let me jump down here if you bear with me. So this is an activity wall where a subgrid could be this, and this could be jutted out the entire way, and it could be for notes or for activities. We've seen that where the social pane has been taken off, and in replace, we've just done two tabular sections of notes and activities, more as a subgrid. I have seen that be the case instead of in the social pane section. I have seen that done before. But if you want the social pane added back in, that's definitely something that can be done. And then John, I just saw you note here, you can select to just see notes and then add the activity wall again and just choose activities. So the social pane is in twice from what it sounds like. That would be something that I would have to see. That would definitely be something that I have not seen before, but I would be more than happy to take a look at that. If you contact our support team, we would be happy to take a look into that further. It's not something that I've seen, going off of memory. I have not seen that issue before. And it looks like we're coming up on time, so I'm going to turn it back over to you, Christina.
All right. Thank you, Michael, for answering all of those great questions, and thank you to all who submitted those questions. We hope you enjoyed this format. I want to remind everyone again of the latest enhancement we made to our website. If you are looking for some free training content, please check out our website, ledgeviewpartners.com, and click on the resources page. There you will find all of our on-demand webinars, our conference session webinars, ebooks, white papers, and our blogs. We hope you can join us next month for our top admin tips every Dynamics 365 and CRM admin should know. This is going to be our next user group webinar held on Wednesday, October 18th at 1:30 p.m. Remember, if you cannot attend live, please continue to register and we will email you a link to the on-demand recording and presentation slides when available. On behalf of Michael, myself, and all of us at Ledgeview, we thank you for taking the time to attend our user group webinar today. Have a great day, and we'll see you on the next one.